you know, what we right now have no limits on sort of spending, and it just seems like we're paving the path towards endless corruption.
Yeah, I mean, it's problematic for a number of different reasons. First of all, obviously, you've got massive individual donors on each side who are giving to these outside groups. And by the way, campaigns technically should not be coordinating with these groups. So campaigns don't necessarily have control over what these groups do. Yeah, so campaigns shouldn't be. I mean, you know, obviously, I think there have been situations where you're like, that's an interesting coincidence. But anyway, if you put that aside for a minute, obviously, the big issue here is the separation of the campaign itself and the message of the campaign from these massive outside groups that spend all of this money. These trends are indeed very, very troubling, and they do end up sort of shining a spotlight on massive individual donors on both sides.
Lonnie's done a good job here, Chris, of getting the term both sides in 3 times. I mean, I got to give him credit. If anybody was playing at home, like, cross that off your bingo card. Like, Lonnie got in both sides 3 times. There's a pretty big difference that should be pointed out here, and that difference is one side thinks this is crazy. Right. One side says this is not how this is supposed to work. Yes, the rules exist and apply equally to everyone, but one side says we should change these rules.
That's right.
I'm glad to be on that side.
And we should also note that, to Lonnie's point, in terms of how the system works, the current system was created by a lawsuit by Mitch McConnell. And he said it's one of the proudest things he's ever done in his life. And it is the position, it is the sort of ideological position of the Republican Party. Lonnie, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the ideological position of the Republican Party that Citizens United is rightly decided, and this is how it should work.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of Republicans take that point of view as sort of, if you want to call them First Amendment absolutists, that the notion is that corporate speech is just as protectable as individual speech because corporations and individuals are indistinguishable. We've had this discussion before on this show, I think, Chris. But look, I think it is the case that most Republicans believe Citizens United was correctly decided. Not all, but most. That's right.
Can I just say this is really important? The fact that we call corporations people is actually one of the ways we did that was actually through one of the post-Civil War amendments that was supposed to protect black people's citizenships in this country. And what we have seen, and there's some research that shows that more Supreme Court precedent has gone to protecting corporations than black people. So, at the same time that we have all this voter suppression, whether it's voter ID laws or eliminating early voting or making it more difficult for people to register through motor voter or any of the other ways that actually opens up the avenues for democratic practice, at the same time we've seen a pullback from that. We've also seen the floodgates of essentially a very few very, very wealthy people being able to influence politics in